Hi, I am CagerOnTwoWheels and today we are riding the Benelli TRK502. So straight onto the highway because I did the walk around last video, which you can see on screen, the link to it. So let's see how this fares on the highway. Fairly well. This is 47 horsepower. Feels a little bit less, at least right now, but I don't have much of a term of comparison, but I will have... Whoa! Nutcase! Nutcase alarm! I want the distance from that guy. Let's see how it goes on this ramp up here. And how it handles on a speedier turn like this. At these higher speeds it is a bit ponderous, so I guess it has a relatively low center of gravity to offset its weight. One of the criticisms I saw on your feedback from the other video is that this bike is heavy. 213 empty, which means with this 20-liter tank full it would be at least 225 kilograms, which is quite a lot, plus oils, etc. It will be nudging 230, but it can climb this, and this is pretty steep in 6th gear at 152.53. Let's drop one down and let's see if it goes faster. No, not really. So it still has some speed, but the weight makes it feel a bit more sluggish. So the only thing I'm not impressed about this one is the engine. It works, okay, it's fair enough. It's nice for beginners, doesn't scare but also doesn't excite. It's very flat. A bit more torque down here on the low range would have been awesome instead of it all being on the top range. Torque-wise feels like a 4-cylinder, but this is a 2-cylinder one. So that's the only part on this bike I haven't been liking. Another criticism was the brakes. Well, I kind of liked the brakes the first time, but this time when I grabbed the brake, it was odd. It felt like a different bike. Not sure what's up with that. And I want to go this way. Sorry, big Jeep. And I'll show you when I start going down there. But I think I know why I liked the brakes the first time and now I'm not liking them very much. Because if you brake with only two fingers, look at the travel I have to do to brake. Look at all the travel. This is doing barely nothing. This is just that slowing down thing, that slight slow down phase, and it's already almost touching my knuckles. So it has a lot of travel, and it only bites when it's about to touch your knuckles. It's touching my knuckle now. It's braking a bit more. If you want to brake a lot, you have to use all 4 fingers, because you won't have space for your fingers under the lever. See, I can easily make the lever touch the handlebar. So there's a bit too much travel here, and I've already set it up so it's as furthest forward as I can make it. I think it's setting 4. Let's try setting 1. Actually, scratch that. Setting 1 is even further away. It's a bit ponderous through the bends. It takes a while to lean in and lean out, which, if you think about it, is a bit better for a beginner because it feels safer. The bike's not nervous at all. It's much a more relaxed ride. So in contrast with the Benelli 302, which is a very fun bike, light and nimble, etc. It's a 300 after all. This one feels more like a bigger bike. It has that very stable feel of a long tourer. But I need more bends to properly try that out. This is better. On setting 1, the gear lever is way more up ahead, and so this is much more usable with only 2 fingers. So never mind what I just said about the brakes. They work as long as you don't use setting 4. This is very stupid what I just did. I want to try the ABS again, because the other ride was just a really short ride with not much substance, and I kind of liked it, but I have to try it now. Like this zigzag, yeah, that takes a while. That does take quite a while. Likes to widen the turns a bit, which is odd. Maybe I did it wrong. Let's see. I think I might have done that bend wrong. I'm going to turn around here when possible and do this again the other way. Can I turn around here? Not a good idea, but well, I can do it, I think. Let's see if there's any oncoming cars. There aren't. Oh, no need to put the feet down because it's very stable. The seat is super comfortable still. Wind protection is awesome. 150 at the highway, and I didn't even notice I was going that fast. It's that good. It's very nice. Just a wee bit of sound and turbulence at the top of the helmet, but very small. Very comfortable, so I'd say this should be pretty nice for some longer trips. So it's a small bike for big trips. Yeah, with two fingers on it, there's too much play on this brake lever. Don't know if that's fixable with other brake levers, probably, but I would change the brake lever to something that allows you less play, so it's more direct instead of being that so spongy. It's a bit unnerving, especially if you're used to more direct brake, more performing brake. That can be a bit scary. Nitpicking. It's a bit of nitpicking, but I like the way it's stable and it just stays put. Too dangerous. I can see the road here. Brake a bit, turn. Yeah, the engine's just not... This isn't much. It's better at higher rev. The higher revs you go, it gets slightly better, but the torque curve is very flat. Again, let's look at this bike from a beginner's perspective. Someone who wants their first proper bike out of a 125 or out of a moped or something, but wants something to be able to do some longer travels. So not a 20-year-old firebrand, someone a bit older that just started biking, a bit older. This will do. This is not scary at any moment. Brakes do take some getting used to if you have more experience and you're more used to sharper biting bikes. But if you're a noob, you'll be using all four fingers anyway, so this will work perfectly well. The engine never scares, but it's competent enough. I don't know about consumption, have no idea about fuel consumption, but being a 500 should be fairly low. Does have the look. The weight, well, it feels, at low speeds, it doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels like a big bike, ponderous, but it doesn't feel like I'm going to tip over and fall at any moment heavy. Okay, the steering is very light, but it's heavier than the CB500X and the other 500s and 300s out there, just a tad. But it feels ponderous, like proper big, and it's not a proper big bike. So I don't know. I like it, but I don't know. It's kind of like they wanted to give the feel of a big bike to a cheap and new guy's machine. Now let's talk about the cheapness, of which this bike has a small issue. This is only. Oh, it's not here. Sorry, no, it's not here. it's only 500 euros less than the competing Honda CB500X. And most people will be thinking, well, for 500 extra, I'll just get a Honda, it's a Honda, right? Kinda. Consider this, the Honda with the crash bars, this one brings in as stock, with the tall screen, and with the top case support, will cost at least, let's say, 150 for the crash bars, 100 for the windscreen, and 100 for the top case. That's 200, 350 extra. So now it costs 750 bucks extra. Now that's a lot of money. Now we're talking money, okay? So it is not quite that expensive, or quite that close to the Honda in terms of prices. And where do they cut corners? Well, they cut corners on a less refined engine, or less refined bike, because the weight is much higher, so it's a bit less refined, so it weighs more. Some of the plastics are a bit iffy. This is feels very plasticky. The nose feels very plasticky, and from some angles and up close it looks a bit plasticky. The dashboard is very bare bones. The Honda has more stuff than this one, so the whole bike is very simple and uncomplicated and very bare bones. And to offset that, they made it cheap. So that's, of course, if you want a very good bike, it'll be expensive. And Benelli has already learned the lesson about making expensive bikes in the form of their GT800 or 600s that did not sell at all, because they cost 8,000 euros, which is the price of a Tracer 700. So no one bought that bike. It was quite a failure, and for a very obvious reason. You can't go toe to toe with the Hondas and Yamahas and expect to survive. So they did something different. They did something cheaper, but with lots of equipment. And this is the thing. And to be cheap, you have to cut corners, and the corners they cut were these I just told you. Some materials look iffy, not all. The engine is, well, serviceable. The bike is heavyish. Suspension's very nice. I'm going to try it out where I tried it again. Don't want to run over the cat. Okay, cat. Not sure I'm on the right spot. I don't think I'm on the right spot. I did with the Kawasaki's. I'm not. So I'm going to have to hunt for the little road I found on the Kawasaki's, which is not here nor here. Okay, I'll have to turn around. Okay, this is going to be quite a test. Can I make this roll backwards with all this weight? Yeah, barely. Feels a bit like my NC 700 reversing this. The NC was 220 kilos too, so yeah, you're gonna have problems reversing this heavy bike. But except for that, you don't really notice it. Even when you're handling it, just handling the bike on your garage, it's not very noticeable. So it's not this way. I think it's this way up. Is it? Not really sure. Or is it this? Oh, it's this way. Sorry, I forgot the way. So yeah, that's it. It's a very cheap bike for longer tours, and it feels like tuned for that. Because come to think of it, it's better off-road than the CB500X. Because come to think of it, the competition, the CB500X, feels like a bike that everything you do with it is like, yeah, this is nice, but it's not quite what this machine was made for. So it seems like it's not made for anything, but it kind of does everything. This one feels it was actually made for something, and that something is, oh, this is very nice, this works very well. And that something feels it's bigger rides, bigger relaxed rides, not performance, not going balls to the wall with it, not the twisty mountain roads, but adventuring, exploring, riding along. It can do the high fun stuff, but okay, it's, oh yeah, it can do a mountain road, but it's not quite as fun as it could be because of a bit of a gutless engine or heaviness or etc. It's just not, it doesn't feel like it's been done for that. It feels like it's been done for more relaxed touring, more relaxed long rides. Because the seat is great, wind protection is awesome, There's a lot of space. You could sit on it the whole day and it'd be comfortable, I think. And it feels ponderous, so it's a very relaxed bike to ride. A very agile bike is very much fun, but it's tiresome because you're always zigging and zagging. This is a bit more like a relaxed boat. Let's go slowly. Now, how the frack do I get back? I have to go to work. I don't know how to get there. I think it's up here. Or is it that way? I think it's this way. Let's see over the bump. See, just kind of takes it in. So yeah, it feels like a big tourer, but with a small engine. Oh, about the looks. I like the looks, but as someone very rightfully told, this looks like, I'm paraphrasing now, this very much looks like the unholy communion between a Ducati and a BMW. So I like the looks. I like the way it looks. From the front it looks nice. I like quite a lot the way it looks from the rear as you're approaching your bike from the rear. And I am completely lost. I don't think I want to go this way. It has that big bike feel. No one's going to believe if you say this is a 500cc bike. No one. It looks much bigger. Oh, I know what I am going. No, okay, I know where to go. It feels a much bigger bike. But it's an easy bike to ride. Feels more stable than the other 500s, 300s, which would be something I would have loved some time ago when I started out, because I always felt very scared of the lightness of my 125. Felt like it was doing whatever it wanted, not what I wanted. This one doesn't have that. It does have a bit of a tendency to widen the turns though. Not sure why. Very unnerving. Yeah, but it's cheap. It's real cheap. What can you get for 6k? Well, you can get some very expensive 125s. You can get some 300s. I think the Z300's like about that price range. The MT-03 is at that price range. No, I think it's more expensive, like 6.5. I don't know. I don't know what you can get for 6k, but I seriously doubt you can get a big tourer for 6,000 euros. For 750 more, you can get the Honda. And is it worth the 750 more? Well, it depends. It actually depends. This bike is, well, it's on the edge. I can't say this is a better bike than the Honda because it's way cheaper. Because it is way cheaper, but it still has a few things that the Honda doesn't have. For example, the Honda will have better build quality overall. I hate the dash on the Honda. That yellow thing is ridiculous, but does have more info than this one. But 750 is quite a lot of money, and I'm considering buying it with the same accessories this one has, for it to be a longer tourer, okay? For wind protection and top case supports and the crash bars. So that's why I'm saying 750 more expensive. Well, it depends on how much you value, how much money you got. If you got more money and you prefer the Honda, go for it, go have fun, awesome. If you don't, if you want something that's really cheap, go ahead for this one. So it's nice, it's not a bad product. It's unrefined, simple, uncomplicated, big tourer with a small engine, with all the goodness and all the badness that brings. That's what this bike is, a big tourer with a small engine. Honestly, this one with a slightly bigger engine, exactly this, slightly bigger engine, so more oomph, and maybe this brake sponginess thing fixed. Could be this unit, but from the criticism I heard, maybe it's not just this unit. Could go a long way. Whoa, 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 whoa. Did manage to brake. Did go a bit wobbly there, because all the weight went to the front, but did manage to make a completely unexpected and unforeseen emergency slowdown. Didn't stop. Went down to 40 kph. Adjusting the rear suspension is also not easy on this one. It's tucked in a very inaccessible location. Very silly, by the way, but well, I guess that's the only place where they could put it in. Then again, 6,000 euros, guys, just 6k. Let's try a longer bend this time. It stays. Yeah, it just stays put. The tendency to widen the turn is if you're too violent getting in, and then it kind of wants to go wide. It's all. I've never felt this before. But once you lean and stay leaned, it just stays put, perfectly stable. Again, big bike feel, small engine. I'm going to try to test the ABS now. Where are you guys going? Yeah, two-finger brakes just feels wrong on this one. It clamps onto your fingers, needs less movement on the lever. Let's try the brakes now. 3, 2, 1, just the front one. Oh, it's fine. Let's try again. And brake. See? It's not that violent. It just goes squeak, 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 squeak until it stops. Oh yeah, I can do it here. Let's park it right here like this. Wait, let's go back. Oop, ah. Yeah, that is kind of heavy. I'm just going to hop off and push it backwards manually. Easier this way. Yeah, now it feels a bit heavy. Whoops. I hate doing this to bikes I don't know. It's always a very iffy proposition. Very iffy. Feels very odd. See, it looks very heavy. Okay, so that's the Benelli TRK502. 6,000 euro bike, which doesn't really look that off place next to Cross Tourer, which all in all is very nice. Has its issues, has its good things, has its bad things, but remember, 6,000 euros for all of this. It is what it is. Cager out.